Hi y'all, happy quarantine. I am Kiana Gonzalez from the Lansing Area Church of Christ, and I'm here with my trusty pal Walter. And I'm here to talk about 2 Chronicles 10 through 12. So just really briefly, we see kind of in these chapters, I don't know how to say these names. English is my second language, so bear with me. But you have King Rehoboam. I don't know. But anyways, this king, right after Solomon passes away, he's trying to take over. And so there's two really incredible lessons in these chapters that I just couldn't pass up. So in the first one, really briefly, is this concept of like advice, right? So this king who's trying to see like what should he do with his servants kind of seeks advice from two people. On the one hand, you have the elders of the community who tell him be kind, aka kindness always wins, right? And then on the other hand, you have the kind of his younger counterparts, right, who are like, be mean because harshness always rules. And then the king chooses the advice of the younger counterparts, right? And in my blog post, I talk about, or in my writing, my mom always says, like, you're looking for kind of convenient advice, right? So advice that suits what you want to do, right? And in this case, this is a clear example of that, right, with the king, right? Which leads to the rebellion of Israel, right? So lesson number 1, be mindful of who you're getting advice from, right? If the advice is hard to listen to and you're like, oh, I don't like this, it's probably some good advice, right? This is like preaching to the choir, right? Like these were things that like convicted me and impacted me. Chapter 11 is like a lineage of Judah's kingdom, and then in chapter 12 we have this like invasion that happens, right? So the Egyptians go and invade the Israelites because they have abandoned God's law, right? So I'm going to read from verses 5. I really focus on 7, but just to contextualize. So in verse 5, towards the end, right, when the prophet Shemaiah went to Rehoboam and the leaders of Judah who were gathered at Jerusalem because of the Shishak, he said to them, "This is what the Lord says, you have abandoned me, therefore I have abandoned you to the Shishak." So the leaders of Israel and the king humbled themselves and said, "The Lord is righteous." When the Lord saw that they had humbled themselves, the Lord's message came to Shemaiah. That's hard to say too. They have humbled themselves. I will not destroy them, but I will grant them a little deliverance. My wrath will not be poured out on Israel through Shishak. However, they will become his servants so that they may recognize the difference between serving me and serving the kingdom of other lands. But I particularly like this verse because you see God's justice, right? We abandoned his law, he had to abandon us, but you also see his mercy and his grace when he so quickly, as soon as we get on our knees and proclaim that God is holy, that God is righteous, he just comes back, right? And furthermore, thinking about because of Jesus and his sacrifice on the cross, God is always with us, right? And so these two things are my biggest takeaways, right? On the one hand, like, who are you getting advice from? Is it righteous advice? Is it advice that's going to help you? And number 2, let's say that you follow your convenient advice and then get yourself in a crazy dilemma, right? All you have to do is go back on your knees and say how righteous God is, right? And call on God's name. That's just amazing. Anyways, I know this is kind of long and I'm sorry, but I hope you enjoy it. Walter says goodbye. Walter. And I hope that y'all are staying healthy during this time and that you can see this, and this helps you see the Bible with 20/20 vision.